The scouts of the Galactic Empire moved silently through space, their sensors alert for anything unusual. They had traveled thousands of light-years, scanning new systems, and nothing had surprised them in decades. That was until a signal appeared on their long-range scanners. It was small at first, just a faint blip, but it grew rapidly, moving closer to the Empire's borders. The officers on the bridge stared at the readings, confused. The object was massive, but its shape did not match any known species or design. It was unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. Commander Vark, a seasoned officer who had faced countless alien threats, leaned over the console. "What is this?" he asked, his voice tight. "It's enormous," his second-in-command replied. "And it's not our technology. It doesn't match any schematics in our archives." The room fell silent. Every officer knew that when technology baffled the Empire's best minds, it was either a miracle or a threat. Meanwhile, far from the Empire's scanners, the humans were unaware that they had been detected. In a massive shipyard orbiting a small, blue planet, engineers and scientists moved efficiently, building machines that would later be called warships. The ships were unlike anything in the galaxy. Large, sleek, and armed with weapons that seemed simple at first glance but could strike with deadly precision. On the ground, a young engineer named Mara adjusted a control panel, her eyes flicking over the schematics displayed before her. "This will be our strongest yet," she whispered. Around her, others worked with equal focus. Sparks flew, metal groaned under the welding beams, and the hum of energy generators filled the air. No one spoke of war. They spoke of survival, of creating something that could protect their world. Yet somehow, their work had already caught the attention of an empire that thought itself unbeatable. Back in the Imperial Command Center, the High Council gathered. Hollow images of the human ship hovered in the air, rotating slowly. "It's massive," one council member said, voice trembling slightly. "And it's not just big, it's fast, and the weapons. I can't even identify them." Another counselor shook his head. "They are human," he said, almost as if saying it aloud made it less frightening. "And humans have always been underestimated. Perhaps it is time we do not make that mistake again." The debate raged for hours. Some argued for an immediate strike, believing that destroying the ship before it became a threat was the only choice. Others urged caution, suggesting that observing the humans might reveal how they had managed to develop such advanced technology. The Emperor, who watched from his private chamber, remained silent. He did not need words to understand the implications. Humans, with their persistence, creativity, and unpredictability, had grown strong enough to make even the vast galactic empire uneasy. Meanwhile, Mara and her team finished testing a new weapon system on one of the ships. The energy pulse shot into space and dissolved harmlessly against the shipyard's outer shields. She smiled, satisfied. "They won't know what hit them," she said softly. She had no idea that the Empire's scouts had already seen the test from light years away. As night fell on the human world, the shipyard glowed like a beacon. The massive hulls of warships reflected the light of distant stars. The humans did not stop. They worked tirelessly, preparing for something they could not yet fully understand themselves. Yet, despite their lack of experience with galactic politics and empires, their ingenuity was undeniable. Every panel, every weapon, every maneuver was designed with purpose. The humans were building not just warships, but symbols of defiance and resilience. In the Empire, tension grew. The scouts reported that the humans were preparing multiple fleets, all hidden within nebula clouds and asteroid belts. "They are more organized than we expected," Commander Vark said grimly. "And their technology, it adapts. Every time we think we understand it, it changes." The council murmured in fear. They had never faced a species that combined simplicity with effectiveness so seamlessly. The suspense reached its peak when a transmission arrived at the Empire. It was short, almost casual, and the language was simple but precise. "You are watching," the message read. "We are ready." The council members froze. Humans had sent a warning, not an attack, yet the message carried more threat than any fleet could. The Empire had underestimated humans for too long, and now, the truth was unavoidable. The camera would follow Mara, who stood on a viewing platform, staring at the stars. She did not know the Empire had already noticed them. She only knew that the work they had done, every ship, every weapon, was necessary. The galaxy might be watching, but humans would face whatever came with courage. And for the first time, the Empire understood that these seemingly small, fragile beings could change the balance of power forever. As the human warship's weapon systems hummed to life, glowing with energy, the Imperial scouts pulled back in shock. The Empire had seen many battles, many victories, but nothing like this. A single human ship, simple yet extraordinary, could outmatch fleets they had thought unbeatable. Commander Vark's voice broke the silence. "Prepare the fleet, but I don't think anything we do will be enough." The room fell quiet. Every officer understood the same truth. The humans were coming, and the galaxy had never seen anything like them. The Galactic Empire could not stop thinking about the humans. Scouts had returned with more information, but every report seemed more confusing than the last. Humans were organized, smart, and strangely calm. Every time the Empire thought they understood human technology, it did something new, something unexpected. In a secret Imperial command room, holograms of human warships spun slowly in the air. Scientists and military leaders crowded around. "Their shields, they adapt faster than our weapons can track," one scientist said. Another shook his head. "And their weapons are simple, yet precise. How can a species so primitive, in our eyes, make machines like this?" The council debated. Some argued for a full strike, claiming that delaying would only give humans more time to prepare. Others warned that attacking without understanding the humans fully could lead to disaster. Commander Vark stood silently, watching the holograms. He had fought thousands of battles, but something about these humans made his confidence waver. Far away, in the human shipyard, Mara and her team continued their work. They did not know that the Empire had already taken interest in them. They focused on small details, shield strength, energy flow, weapon accuracy, but in these details lay their true advantage. Humans did not always need the largest ship or the most powerful weapon. They relied on creativity, speed, and clever strategies. A young human engineer named Jalen tested a new drone design. The drones were small, almost invisible from far away, but packed with powerful energy bursts. "These will help us scout enemy positions," he said. Mara nodded. "And they can defend the bigger ships if needed." She smiled faintly. "The Empire won't see this coming." Back in Imperial space, a group of spies tried to sneak close to human territory. Their ships moved through asteroid fields and nebulae, hoping to find weaknesses in human defenses. But the humans were always prepared. Drones appeared, invisible until the last second, and forced the Imperial ships to retreat. Every attempt to infiltrate human space failed. Commander Vark received the news. He slammed his fist on the table. "How is this possible? No fleet has ever failed like this against us." His advisors exchanged worried glances. Humans were doing something no other species had done before, resisting the Empire with intelligence and planning rather than sheer force. In human space, there was no celebration. Mara and Jalen worked silently, focused on their mission. They were building ships, yes, but they were also preparing for survival. Their planet was small and alone in the galaxy, yet they refused to be powerless. Every decision, every design, was meant to protect their people. And somehow, that determination made them stronger than even the Empire could predict. The Empire's council grew anxious. "They are learning," one officer whispered. "Every day, they are smarter, faster, better than yesterday." Others nodded. The scouts had reported humans repairing ships in minutes, adjusting weapons on the fly, and deploying defenses before the Empire even realized they were under attack. "They are not just inventors," the council leader said quietly. "They are strategists. And they are growing bold." Tension rose when a small transmission arrived at Imperial space. Unlike the previous casual warning, This message showed coordination and intelligence. "We see you watching. We are prepared," it read. The council fell silent. No species had ever sent such a direct, confident warning. The humans were not just resisting, they were challenging the Empire's assumption of superiority. In the human shipyard, Mara studied her screens. Reports of Imperial movement had reached them through scouts and sensors. She knew the Empire was nervous, but she also knew they could not wait. "We must finish the warships," she told her team. "We can't hope for luck. We have to be ready." The humans worked through the day and night, repairing, adjusting, and improving every system. Their focus was unbreakable, their unity clear. Meanwhile, the Empire began secretly planning a massive attack. They believed overwhelming force could destroy the humans before they became a real threat. Fleets were assembled, weapons tested, and war plans drawn. But every plan was flawed. The humans' technology was unpredictable, their strategies clever, and their morale high. The Empire had grown used to defeating opponents through fear, but humans did not show fear. As the Empire prepared, humans continued their work in silence. Mara walked along the shipyard, watching the massive hulls take shape. "One day," she whispered, "we will show them that strength is not just size or power. It's intelligence and courage." Around her, engineers nodded, working without pause. They were building more than ships, they were building hope, resilience, and a future. The scouts returned to the Empire one last time before the planned attack. Commander Vark received them personally. "Report," he demanded. The lead scout's voice trembled slightly. "Sir, they are ready. And they are not afraid. We have never seen anything like this." Vark stared at the report, his stomach twisting. The humans were ordinary in appearance, but their spirit, strategy, and technology made them extraordinary. The council realized the truth. The humans were no longer a simple species to watch. They were a force that could challenge the Empire. And the Empire, which had never lost, felt for the first time the weight of uncertainty. The humans were ready. The Empire was watching. And the galaxy was about to witness a battle that no one would forget. The Imperial fleet moved cautiously toward human space. They had waited long enough, building warships and gathering fleets, confident that their size and firepower would overwhelm any resistance. But reports from scouts kept haunting them. Humans were different. Clever. Unpredictable. Dangerous in ways the Empire had never faced before. Commander Vark led the fleet personally, his eyes scanning the stars through the bridge's viewports. "Stay sharp," he warned. "They may be small, but they are clever. Watch for traps." Around him, officers nodded, though their faces betrayed doubt. The Empire had never hesitated in battle. Yet now, hesitation was everywhere. In the human shipyard, Mara received warnings of the approaching fleet. She did not panic. Instead, she walked calmly through the massive corridors, checking the final systems of their ships. Jalen was at her side, adjusting drone systems. "They are coming," he said. Mara nodded. "Then let's show them what humans can do." The first Imperial ships appeared near the edge of human space. They were massive, black warships, armed with weapons that could destroy planets. Sensors scanned for threats, expecting minimal resistance. What they found instead surprised them. Small, fast ships darted around, seemingly everywhere at once. Drones moved ahead, invisible until the last moment, disrupting sensors and confusing the Empire's targeting systems. Commander Vark's jaw tightened. "Focus fire. Concentrate on the larger ships." But every shot missed, diverted by shields and unpredictable movements. The humans did not attack aggressively. Instead, they maneuvered with precision, avoiding damage while showing the Empire just enough of their strength to keep them uneasy. The first human message came over the communications channel. Simple, direct, calm. "You are in our space. We do not want war. But we are ready." The words were short, almost polite, but every officer on the Imperial fleet felt their meaning. Humans were small, yet their confidence was absolute. They were warning the Empire, Approach carelessly, and you will pay. Imperial warships fired. Explosions lit the darkness of space, but human drones moved too quickly. Each shot missed, or was absorbed by shields that adapted instantly. Human ships returned minimal fire, striking only when it was necessary and effective. The Empire had faced hundreds of species, all eager to fight, but humans were different. They were intelligent, patient, and fearless. On the bridge of one human ship, Mara watched the Imperial fleet move like a storm through space. She gave calm, precise commands, her crew moving efficiently. "Drones in position," she said. "Shields at maximum. Wait for my mark." Every movement was calculated, designed to protect their ships while confusing the enemy. The Empire's commanders grew frustrated. How can they do this? Their ships are smaller, weaker, yet their strategy is flawless. Vark's face was grim. He had faced cunning enemies before, but humans combined intelligence, patience, and boldness in a way that the Empire could not predict. Every maneuver the Imperial fleet attempted was countered effortlessly. The humans did not attack recklessly. They avoided unnecessary destruction, instead showing that they could strike anywhere, anytime. Drones disabled weapon systems, human ships dodged attacks, and the Empire found themselves outmatched not by brute strength, but by ingenuity. As the battle continued, Vark realized the truth. Humans were not just fighting for territory. They were demonstrating that intelligence, unity, and courage could stand against overwhelming power. The Empire had always relied on fear and force to control the galaxy. Humans showed that those things alone were not enough. Finally, after hours of testing and probing, the Imperial fleet retreated slightly, regrouping at a safer distance. The humans did not chase them. They remained in formation, calm and ready, as if daring the Empire to try again. Mara watched silently, knowing they had won a small victory, not by destroying the enemy, but by surviving and showing strength. Vark stared at the stars where the humans had been. "This species, it is unlike any we have faced. They are clever, fearless, and stronger than we imagined." His officers nodded, though fear and respect mingled in their expressions. The Empire had faced rebellion, piracy, and alien empires before. But humans were a new kind of challenge, one that could not be measured in size or firepower alone. In the human shipyard, the engineers celebrated quietly. Not with loud cheers, but with a sense of accomplishment. They had faced the Empire's first attack and survived. They had shown that humans were not weak. That cleverness, courage, and unity could match even the greatest fleet in the galaxy. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the Empire, the Council realized the same thing. They had underestimated humans. They had expected easy victories and simple resistance. Instead, they found patience, strategy, and strength unlike anything they had imagined. The galaxy was changing, and the humans were already proving themselves. The stage was set for something greater. The Empire had learned a lesson they could not forget. Humans were no longer a small, weak species. They were clever, determined, and ready to defend themselves, and the galaxy had yet to see the full extent of what they could achieve. The Imperial Council convened in a grand chamber, the walls glowing with holograms of human ships. The scouts' reports had terrified them. The humans were clever, fast, and organized. Every maneuver they made during the first encounter had forced the Empire to retreat. The Council knew that hesitation now could be dangerous. "We cannot allow them to grow stronger," one counselor said, voice trembling slightly. "If we wait, they will build more ships, more weapons. We must strike, and we must strike hard." Another counselor shook his head. "We have underestimated them already. A full attack may succeed, or it may destroy our fleet. They are unlike any species we have faced." Commander Vark leaned forward, resting his hands on the table. "We have to try," he said. "If we delay, the humans will control the battlefield. We must destroy their shipyards before they can build a real fleet." Meanwhile, in human space, Mara and her team worked without pause. Sensors had detected Imperial ships gathering near the borders. Humans had known this day might come. Every ship, every weapon, every drone had been prepared for this moment. They were not just defending themselves, they were ready to show the galaxy the strength of humanity. Mara walked along the platform, speaking quietly to Jalen. "They are coming," she said. "We've prepared as much as we can. Now it is up to us." Jalen nodded. "They won't expect everything we've built. We have surprises they cannot see." Around them, engineers checked weapons, shields, and drones. The hum of engines filled the massive shipyard, a quiet reminder that humans had turned fear into preparation. The Imperial fleet moved toward human space like a storm. Thousands of ships, weapons ready, shields charged. They believed their sheer size would overwhelm any resistance. Yet every Imperial officer knew the truth: humans were unpredictable. Their first encounter had proved it. And now, the Empire was about to find out just how prepared the humans had become. The first ships entered the outer perimeter. Sensors detected activity, but it was confusing. Drones moved in patterns that seemed random at first, then revealed themselves as precise formations. Human warships appeared, but not all at once. They emerged strategically, striking only when necessary, their weapons targeted with incredible accuracy. Commander Vark's brow furrowed. "This is more organized than we expected. Stay alert." He ordered his fleet to advance slowly, scanning for threats. But humans did not attack recklessly. Instead, they used speed, intelligence, and timing. Small bursts of energy from drones disabled weapon systems, while larger ships remained protected behind adaptive shields. The Empire's massive ships found themselves under constant pressure, unable to strike effectively. Mara's voice rang calm over the shipyard comms. "Hold positions. Let them make mistakes. Wait for the right moment." Every human ship responded like a single organism, moving in perfect coordination. They were few compared to the Empire, yet every movement was precise. Humans had learned to use intelligence and unity to compensate for smaller numbers. Imperial weapons fired relentlessly, creating streaks of light across space, but human shields absorbed or deflected nearly every hit. For the first time, the Empire realized that raw power was not enough. These humans, with their ingenuity and courage, could outsmart even the greatest war machines in the galaxy. Suddenly, human ships activated a massive defensive formation. A shimmering shield, unseen by the Empire before, rose around the entire fleet. Energy pulsed, reflecting the Empire's weapons harmlessly. Vark's voice was tight. "Shields. How? We didn't see this technology before." Scientists on the bridge scrambled, unable to find any flaw. The humans had hidden their most powerful systems until the last moment. The Empire's council watched in disbelief. Thousands of ships, weapons ready to destroy, were failing against a species they had thought inferior. Panic spread among the officers. The humans were not only defending, they were showing the Empire that strategy, courage, and intelligence could defeat brute force. In the human shipyard, Mara watched the Imperial fleet hesitate. She did not gloat. She knew the real challenge was still ahead. "They are learning," she said softly. "They think they can intimidate us. Let them see our strength." Around her, engineers worked silently, repairing ships, recharging shields, and preparing for the inevitable. Humans were not just surviving, they were proving that they could stand against the mightiest empire in the galaxy. The first wave of battle ended with the Imperial fleet retreating slightly, regrouping at a distance. The humans did not pursue them. They held position, their massive warships and drones ready, calm, and confident. Mara looked at the stars and whispered, "We are ready. Let them come." Commander Vark stared at the remaining human ships. For the first time, he felt uncertainty. They had come to destroy, but instead they had witnessed something extraordinary. Humans could fight, adapt, and survive against impossible odds. The Empire's confidence had been shaken. The galaxy had not seen anything like this before. The humans had made a statement. They were not weak, they were not simple, and they would not be intimidated. The Empire had planned an attack to crush them, but it had failed to consider the strength of intelligence, courage, and unity. And now, both sides knew that the real conflict was only beginning. Humans worked tirelessly, day and night, in the massive shipyards. Every ship, every drone, every weapon system was being upgraded. They were not just repairing the damage from the first encounter, they were preparing for something bigger. Mara moved among the engineers, her eyes calm but focused. She knew the Empire would return, stronger this time, and she also knew humans had something the Empire could never fully predict: ingenuity. Jalen was testing a new fleet of drones. Unlike the first set, these drones were faster, smarter, and capable of working together in perfect coordination. "These can defend the fleet and attack at the same time," he said. Mara nodded. "Exactly. We can control the battlefield without exposing our larger ships. The Empire won't know what hit them." Around them, engineers adjusted weapons, tested shields, and fine-tuned the energy systems. Every human ship was becoming more than a machine. It was a strategy in itself. Meanwhile, the Empire's scouts returned with disturbing news. The humans were building a massive fleet, far larger than the first encounter suggested. "They have hidden shipyards," one scout reported. "They are everywhere: asteroid belts, nebula clouds, even on moons we did not expect. Their fleet is growing, and their technology adapts faster than we can analyze it." Commander Vark frowned. "Prepare the council. We must plan for a full-scale battle. They are no longer a minor threat. Humans could rival entire fleets." The Imperial Council met again, tension thick in the air. "How is this possible?" a counselor asked. "We expected small, weak ships. But they are building fleets, drones, and defenses we cannot even identify." Another shook his head. "It is not just technology. Their strategy, it is clever, coordinated. Every move is calculated." The Emperor watched silently, understanding more than anyone. Humans were not just strong, they were unpredictable, and unpredictability was dangerous to empires built on control and fear. Back in the human shipyard, Mara inspected the fleet. The massive warships reflected the distant stars, their shields humming softly. "Every ship must be ready," she said. "The Empire will attack again. They may have more numbers, but we have intelligence, speed, and unity." Engineers worked silently, inspired by her calm confidence. Humans were not afraid of size or power. They relied on creativity, planning, and courage. As the Empire approached human space again, scouts observed that humans had set up defensive positions in ways that seemed impossible. Mines hidden in asteroid belts, drone swarms ready to strike, and energy fields protecting the main ships. Every move the Empire tried was met with subtle resistance, designed not to destroy, but to teach a lesson. Humans were clever, adaptable, and ready. In space, Imperial fleets moved toward the human defenses, confident in their overwhelming firepower. But humans did not panic. Mara watched from the bridge, calm as ever. "Wait for the right moment," she instructed. "Do not waste energy on small targets. Let them come to us." The human strategy was clear: control the battlefield with intelligence, not brute force. The first contact began quietly. Drones darted between Imperial ships, disabling weapons and scanning for weaknesses. Human warships moved in perfect synchronization, avoiding attacks while gathering information. Mara gave precise commands, her voice calm and decisive. The Empire had expected chaos, fear, and retreat, but humans were doing none of these. Imperial commanders grew frustrated. Every attempt to strike human ships failed. Every maneuver was countered before it could take effect. "They are anticipating us," one officer shouted. "Every attack is met with resistance we cannot explain." Commander Vark's jaw tightened. "It is not just technology," he said grimly. "They are thinking, planning, like a single mind. This is more than survival. This is genius." The humans' ingenuity was on full display. Drones coordinated attacks on multiple Imperial ships simultaneously. Energy shields shifted instantly to block concentrated fire. Warships moved strategically, forcing the Empire to chase shadows while exposing themselves to counterattacks. The humans were turning their smaller numbers into an advantage, proving that intelligence and coordination could overcome even overwhelming size. Back in the shipyard, Mara watched the energy shields pulse across the fleet. "They will not break us," she said. "We may be outnumbered, but we are never outsmarted." Around her, engineers nodded, confident in their work. Humans were not just defending, they were shaping the battlefield, teaching the Empire a lesson they would never forget. Finally, after hours of maneuvering, the Imperial fleet was forced to retreat again. They had underestimated humans at every turn. Their overwhelming size, their powerful weapons, and their experience in war were useless against creatures who fought with intelligence, patience, and courage. The humans had survived, and more than that, they had demonstrated their strength, leaving the Empire to reconsider everything they knew about the galaxy. Mara and her team allowed themselves a quiet moment of relief. They had won this phase not by destroying the enemy, but by proving that humans could survive and adapt against the greatest power in the galaxy. And deep down, Mara knew the Empire had learned something important too. Humans were clever, fearless, and unstoppable when united. The stage was set for a final confrontation. The Empire would return, stronger than before, but the humans were ready. Every ship, every drone, every weapon had been designed not just to fight, but to show that ingenuity, courage, and unity could overcome any force in the galaxy. And when the next battle came, the humans would be waiting. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The Imperial fleet, larger than ever, moved toward human space. Thousands of ships, bristling with weapons, stretched across the void like a storm ready to strike. Commander Vark had spent days planning the attack, confident that sheer numbers would crush the humans once and for all. But deep down, he knew the truth: humans were unlike any species he had faced. In the human shipyard, Mara surveyed the fleet. Every warship gleamed under the light of distant stars. Energy shields pulsed rhythmically, drones swarmed like living shadows, and weapon systems hummed with quiet power. Mara's voice was calm, precise. "Remember, we are not just fighting to survive. We are showing them what humans can do. Stick to the plan. Trust each other. Be ready for anything." Around her, engineers and pilots nodded, their eyes filled with determination. The first Imperial ships entered human space. Massive warships fired their weapons in volleys, creating streaks of destructive light across the darkness. But humans were ready. Small drones moved quickly, weaving between the attacks, disabling weapons, and confusing targeting systems. Human warships dodged with precision, never overextending, never panicking. The Empire's first strike was powerful, but ineffective. Commander Vark's face was grim. "Concentrate fire," he barked. "We cannot allow them to survive this attack." But every maneuver seemed anticipated. Human ships moved as one, coordinating attacks and defenses seamlessly. Shields shifted, weapons fired, and drones struck with deadly accuracy. For every Imperial strike, humans countered twice as cleverly, turning disadvantage into advantage. Mara gave calm, precise orders. Drones to flank. Heavy ships maintain position. Fire only on exposed targets. Her fleet moved like a single organism. Small, fast ships distracted and confused the enemy, while larger warships stayed hidden behind shields, ready to strike with devastating power. Humans did not attack recklessly. They conserved energy, striking only when it mattered, forcing the Empire to overextend and make mistakes. Explosions lit the darkness as the first Imperial warships were disabled. Their massive cannons, powerful enough to destroy entire planets, could not overcome the humans' clever tactics. Drones jammed communications, energy shields reflected fire, and human warships struck weak points the Empire did not know existed. Imperial officers watched in disbelief as their largest ships faltered against smaller, smarter opponents. "This is impossible," shouted one Imperial officer. "They should not be able to resist us like this." Commander Vark's jaw tightened. "They are not just resisting," he muttered. "They are controlling the battle." We are reacting to them, not the other way around. The realization hit him like a hammer. Humans were not merely defending, they were leading the fight through intelligence and strategy. Mara's eyes scanned the battlefield. She noticed an Imperial cruiser moving too close to a nebula. Target the cruiser with drones. Lead it toward the field, she ordered. Within moments, the cruiser was caught in a trap. Mines hidden in the asteroid field detonated, disabling engines and shields. Mara smiled faintly. Intelligence beats size, she said softly. Around her, the crew worked seamlessly, each person knowing their role and executing it perfectly. Imperial ships struggled to regroup. Their firepower was massive, but their coordination faltered. Humans moved unpredictably, yet with purpose, striking when needed and avoiding unnecessary risk. The Empire had fought many enemies, but none like this. They had underestimated humans, simple, fragile, yet brilliant and fearless. As the battle continued, human warships launched precision strikes. Drones disrupted targeting systems, while smaller ships lured larger Imperial vessels into traps. Heavy weapons fired only when victory was guaranteed. Each move was calculated, efficient, and deadly. The humans were proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome overwhelming force. Hours passed, and the Imperial fleet began to falter. Ships were damaged, weapons disabled, morale shaken. Commander Vark realized that retreat was inevitable. "Pull back," he shouted. "Regroup at the outer rim." But even as the fleet withdrew, the humans did not give chase. They held position, their shields glowing, their drones vigilant, their warships ready. In the human shipyard, engineers and pilots allowed themselves a quiet sigh of relief. They had survived the Empire's greatest attack, and they had done more than survive. They had demonstrated that humans were clever, brave, and capable of facing the galaxy's most powerful forces. Mara looked at the stars, her voice calm but firm. "This is only the beginning. They will return. But so will we, and next time, we will be ready for everything." Commander Vark watched the retreating humans through his viewport. For the first time, he felt fear, not of humans personally, but of what they represented. A species so small, so underestimated, could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The Empire had faced many wars, but humans had shown them something new. Strength born not of size, but of courage, intelligence, and unity. The galaxy had witnessed a clash of titans. But the real battle was not over. Humans had survived, proven themselves, and left the Empire shaken. And in the silent expanse of space, both sides knew this. The war for the stars was only beginning, and humans would never back down.